Hi, I have in front of me here an AHD or an analog high definition 720p bullet camera. Now the basic specifications on this is it has a 50-meter IR, it has a varifocal lens from 2.8 to 12 millimeters. The 720p on it is equivalent to just over 1.3 megapixels, and there's two main LED LEDs that you can see in it. Now one of the really cool features on this is that although it's designed for use ideally with AHD DVR, it's backward compatible, and we can show you on the menu where you can actually set this back to a PAL setting and allow it to use with older, lower resolution DVRs. So that's a really cool feature on it. So what I'm going to do in terms of the format of this video is I'm just going to give an overview of exactly what comes in the outer box. We'll have a detailed look of the camera itself. What we've actually done here is we've set it up on a tripod and we're just outputting the picture. We're just focusing in behind us here. But the picture resolution here, hopefully it's coming through well on the video, but the picture resolution here we're achieving is just so much better than anything before. So we had standard definition, so it was analog, so it was coming along, we'll say from 9, we'll say 600, 700, 800 TVL, and then we moved on to the 960H. But this is a huge step forward again, and it's giving picture quality that's equivalent to what's achievable, we'll say, with a lot of IP cameras. The big advantage of AHD is that it's using the same technology. You'll see when we see the connectors, all the rest of it, that than what people would traditionally have been using with their DVR setup. So it just allows people to evolve into a new type of cameras here. So what we have here is we just have the outer box here with a user manual, which is in English, just gives the setups and the settings on it. We have a set of four screws and plugs here, which are used for mounting the camera onto a wall. And we have this as a template we'd use for marking the wall. We have an Allen key and also a screwdriver here. We'll just give a quick demonstration of how or why we'd use these. And as well as that then, we're on to the main event here, which is the camera. Now, just a note here, we have a 2.1 millimeter DC input here. So if we look at the connections here, we'll see we have a BNC picture output here, cable, and also if we were feeding power in, we'll say via an RG59 with power or a Cat5, which is connected onto this. It feeds power directly into the camera. So when it comes to the adjustment here, we can see we have adjustments here where will allow us to rotate the angle that we're pointing. And we also have a sun and water guard, rain guard on top here. So what we can actually do is we can just unscrew this very quickly here. I'm just going to take this cover off because it'll just make the demonstration that much easier here. If we look at the front here, we'll see that we have two main LEDs here. And then we have our varifocal lens here. So that's going from 2.8 up to 12 millimeters. If we just flip over the camera here at the bottom, we'll see I've used the Allen key to untighten these screws here pretty well. And I'll just continue the process here. And it's a little bit spring loaded, so it'll just pop out here in a second. So just do this. And that's it. Okay? So it opens up here. So the first thing is we see there's a locking mechanism here, and we can use this for adjusting both the focus and also the zoom. Okay? So you can maybe pick up on that. And then on the back here, what we have is we have the following. We have we can connect directly onto a monitor. We can adjust the sensitivity to the monitor from here, adjust the sensitivity then of the LEDs here, so we can avoid excessive glare if it's something close or something far away we're trying to work on. We can adjust it to suit our own needs. And then what we have here is an ability to bring up the menu, etc. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to come along and I'm just going to display this. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to display how we can choose to run it as a standard definition or as an analog high definition camera. So by default, of course, it'll be set to the AHD setting. But if I come along and the button that I showed earlier here, if I just push this to the left and hold it for 3 seconds, what you see here, click onto the screen, I can just release here now, or it'll come back up, it'll say PAL on the screen here, and you can visibly see the picture resolution is reduced. If I push to the right, hold 3 seconds again, just release, it'll come back up and we'll see 720p here. Okay, so it's visible there in terms of the type of resolution we can achieve on it. If we come along and I press the center button here, I can bring up the menu and I can just arrow up and down. We'll say I come down here And we've got a menu section here. I come along and choose or change settings there. I'll exit out and I just choose here and we'll exit back out. Now one thing I'm going to do very quickly is I'm just going to knock off the lights here. So it's 2 sets of lights. I'll do one, associate to do the other. And we'll just see here, it'll go blank, it'll go a bit blurry, and then what we'll do is it'll be able to focus back in. I might just go over and just show my hand in front of you. But you can see now the camera's quite close because you had to set it up this way for the thing. But you have to remember there's a 50 metre IR in this, so we're actually much closer than we ideally would be. But you can just see in terms of it's able to pick up in detail at night time, and the amount of time it takes to adjust over very, very quick. Okay? So in terms of the applications for something like this, you know, you'd be using it, let's say, to cover a driveway, a large yard, something like that, because, you know, with the 50 metre on it, it has a lot. And it also, say, because of the type of focus on it, you're able to focus in quite well on sort of distant objects, things like that. So, the whole area of AHD, I think it's going to be far more successful, we'll say, than for a lot of people than the IP, simply because the skill set that's out there is much easier, and also, of course, because a lot of people will say might be making a decision to upgrade their system and they wanted to keep some of their cameras, change some of the others. They might be making a decision that they're going to go for an AHD DVR, but they wanted to change a couple of cameras or have a mix of cameras, something like a 700 TVL, maybe some 960Hs and some really high-end AHD cameras, and you can mix all of those directly onto a single system. So that's what really makes it great. But with IP, we'll say it's a huge leap forward, both in terms of cost and also the skill set thing. And the big danger and almost the big fear with IP as opposed to AHD is if a camera goes offline, it's very tricky in terms of getting it back on because the skill set's quite different. What's gone wrong, things like that. When thing like this, where something like this is really given all the benefits you know, that you're trying to achieve to a large extent with IP, but missing a lot of the drawbacks on it. So really we run, we'll say, training courses for the CCTV area, all the rest of it, and people are just generally blown away when they see the picture difference in terms of resolution that AHD can offer to anything that went before. The jump forward is way bigger than, we'll say, a 700 TVL to a 960H. This really is bringing it up to incredible levels of picture focus, and increasingly what we'll see is higher and higher resolution cameras. But what we're having here, 1.3 megapixel picture resolution, and it's really super.